everybody doing? Everyone's having a good day so far? Well guys, I'm not going to take too much of your time. My name is Mike Kubes, and I'll start things off. I'd just like to say a few thank yous. So we want to thank Canada's Wonderland for hosting the event today. The food has been great. The weather's been perfect, so we're really happy about that. Second, I'd like to thank Coach Canada for providing many of us with the transportation for the day. And third, I'd like to thank my dad, Joe Kubes, owner of Kubes Steel, for making this event possible. So please, everyone, a round of applause for Joe. And lastly, a big thank you to all of you guys, the employees of Kubes Steel. Thank you to you and your family and friends who came today to help us celebrate the 40th anniversary of Kubes Steel. So I just want to talk a little bit about why we chose Canada's Wonderland to celebrate Kubes Steel's 40th anniversary. As many of you are aware, Canada's Wonderland added a new ride this year, the Wonder Mountain Guardian, an all-new 4D interactive dark ride. How many of you guys, just a show of hands, have actually tried the ride so far today? So a lot of you guys. So that's pretty cool. So Kubes built that ride this year, and I think it's just the perfect kind of project for Kubes to have completed in their 40th year of business, especially when you consider where the business started 40 years ago. So 40 years ago, Kubes Steel started business as a fabricator of ornamental iron railings. It was a two-man business called K&K Ornamental, with my dad Joe and my grandfather Peter making these railings, which were installed in residential and commercial buildings throughout the greater Hamilton area. Most days my dad would work solo on these railings because my grandfather still had his full-time job. And just to give you an idea of how dirty this job was, by the time my grandfather came home from his day job, my dad would be so dirty that all you could see was the white of his eyes. Every day he would literally get covered head to toe in dust and paint from working out in the garage, and that's all you could see. Of course, we all know that the business has come a long way since then. Eventually, Kubes moved out of the garage and into a small shop on Jones Road. Not the current location of the Jones Road shop. The first shop was actually further up the street, and my parents actually lived there in an apartment attached to the shop. Eventually, they got the shop where Jones Road is now. They hired some employees. There was actually a house on that property, and they tore that down and built the office there. They also raised the roof on what I'm told was the windiest day that Stony Creek has seen in the last 40 years. And they continue to grow by investing in equipment and skilled employees like yourselves. During the 1980s, Kubes did a lot of big fabrication jobs, custom fab work for massive hydroelectric plants in the US and Americas. And you can see a lot of these big jobs in our Throwback Thursday post, so check out the Kubes Steel Facebook page for these links. There's some really interesting things up there. In the 1990s, there was more expansion, and there was the addition of Runster Machines, Sunnyhurst Steel. My dad spent time earning diplomas in mechanical engineering technology and business management at Mohawk College, on top of managing a growing business and a growing family at home. But it was really in the late 90s and early 2000s that Kubes really found their niche in rolling and bending, and this is what allowed them to do some really interesting jobs. Creative jobs that combined everything that they had learned up until that point. And a real highlight is the stainless steel sail that you guys can see at, down at the pier down in Hamilton. Everything that Kubes knew how to do with regards to fabricating, fitting, and bending came together in that project, and now it's one of Hamilton's best recognized piece of public art. And now here we are at Canada's Wonderland, where Canadians and patrons from around the world can enjoy something truly awesome built by Kubes. What I've been told is that this is a fantastic roller coaster. I'm going to try it out later this afternoon, and we're really happy that it's been put together for the enjoyment of the public. So what does all of this tell us? Well, I think that you can find a lot of parallels in the longevity of Kubes Steel in the material they work with. Steel is strong, is made to last, and those qualities are reflected in my dad, Joe Kubes, and his business, which have endured and prospered for the last 40 years. So for myself and all of us, I would like to say once again, congratulations, Dad, on 40 years in business at the helm of Kubes Steel. So a couple of quick announcements. After lunch is over, what we want to do is we want to take a group photo with everybody. We're going to do it right at the front entrance. There's a garden in front of the fountains, and you've got the nice view of the mountain in the background where the job that Kubes Steel did is. So we're going to meet there after lunch at 1:10. After that, the day is yours. You guys can spend the rest of the day at the park, but please come down for that photograph 10 after 1 o'clock, right after lunch, and we'll take that picture. So now what I'd like to do is we have a special guest. I'd like to introduce Norm, who is the General Manager of Canada's Wonderland. He's going to say a few words about the roller coaster and what it means to them to have this awesome new ride built by Kubes Steel.
Thanks, Mike, Joe, and thank you all for choosing Canada's Wonderland as your venue for today. We really appreciate that. I think in looking at the ride, it's clearly a bit of a milestone, I think, for the company as well to build the track. It's generally never been done. We have done a lot of columns throughout the country, but track, I think this is the first time it's been attempted. So a good job by all of you here. Clearly a very popular ride. Who's got the high score here, by the way? Who's been riding? Oh, yeah, you do? Well, we'll see when we walk back there in the Hall of Fame and see if your picture's still up on the screen. But again, I think it says a lot for Kubes Steel from a progressive point of view as a company to take on a project like this. I think there's... I'll pause. I think there's a few unknowns which we all run into when we're building a new piece of equipment like this, being a prototype. But I think the challenge was met. Clearly, the weather that we had to deal with from an erection point of view was in itself a challenge. I think it's been the worst winter in 37 years. But from my point of view, and I know from everyone here, we again thank you all for a job well done, and hopefully there's more partnerships in the future and more coasters in the future that we can build. Again, thank you, and great job, 40-year anniversary. I think that says a lot for a company. Thank you very much.